Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning. Good morning, gentlemen. So I know that you all had a long day already. So before I say anything, I just want us to stand a little bit, just stand a little bit. And just want for just a few seconds, right? Because I see some of you are, sleepy. I just want you to stand for a little bit. And if you believe in your future or you want to be happy about something or there's something that you remember that you want to be happy about, I just want you to lift the top of your voice and just shout and put your hands together, right? 3, 4, let it go. Guys, what are we talking about? You may have your seats. You may have your seats. Nice. Now, I always think about sessions like these. And I was in your position at one point in time, and people would come and they would speak on a wide range of topics. And sometimes with the level of information and the amount of information, sometimes some important stuff is get lost. So my responsibility here today is not to tell you what to do. I'm not going to do that. I'm not here to tell you what to do. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be sharing with you some of my life experiences. And I am going to share with you what worked for me, and then you have the opportunity to decide whether or not you are going to apply it to your life or not, okay? Before I go any further, let me acknowledge the angel of the house, Pastor Cave, and of course, Elder Raymond. Put your hands together for the leaders of the assembly. Put your hands together. Thank you for allowing us permission to use your assembly. All right, gentlemen. As it was mentioned before, I was not always doing what I'm doing today. I had a very rough pass, and we're going to get to that in a short while. But before I go into the meeting, I'm not going to stay long. I'm not going to stay long at all. You know why? Because I understand about attention span. We live in a society where, because technology is so great, everything is competing for our attention. And even though that I am speaking on the microphone and I'm positioned at the altar, I can understand that sometimes something going in my bush. I wonder what to eat, boy. I wonder what's happening when I go home. And sometimes our mind is straight. So for me, I'm not going to stay long, but the things I'm about to say in the next few minutes has the potential to change your life forever. Just give me your undivided attention for just a few. I know you've heard a lot. Arts in Action, thank you so very much. Of course, Errol Fabian, he was here earlier on. But I'm here now, and I'm just going to take a few minutes and I'm going to get out of your way. But I guarantee you, the information I'm about to share today has the potential to change your life. And the reason why I say potential is because even though that everybody in here is exposed to the same information, not everybody gets an A. Not everybody passes the examination. Just like in your class, everybody have different grades, but everybody was exposed to the same level of teaching. But it's because of what you do with the information and what you apply to the information will yield the results based on your application. You all agree with me? Say yeah. That's right. Nice. Right, so before I go into what I have to say for a few minutes, I want to engage a brave young man to come in front here and tell me some of the things that you want to do. What is it you want to do most in this life? What at this age, at this junction in your life, what dream do you have? Anybody raise your hand? First, come. Put your hands together. No? No? Yes or no? Anybody else? You want to come? Put your hands together for him as he comes. Tell me your name. Tell me your name. Probably your form, where you're from, and let us know what it is that you want to do at this junction of your life.
My name is Kyle Williams. I am 4'4". I'm Sugar's. And my former life, I want to get into crime psychology, so I can study. But right now, that's kind of hard because I still want to study more like cranky, so I want to just get into the field. But the more I do it, the more I improve.
That's right.
That's how I want to push my life towards it.
That's right. And nothing is too difficult. We'll say that nothing is too difficult. Put your hands together for him. Right? No, I have. Wait a minute before we go, I have something for you. This is yours. This is yours. Together for him. Put your hands together for him. Look at all you know. Everybody attentive now. No, that is the first lesson. That is the first lesson. Now, if I had said before, the first person to raise their hand to come up here to tell me what they want to do with their life, every man, job, including the teachers and the elder from the church, will come up here to say what they wanted to do. Am I correct? But you did not know that I had planned to give away $100. So that is the first lesson. Sometimes we are encouraged to do something and we don't know the blessing that is in store for us. But the gentleman was first to raise his hand to come up here to say what he wanted to do, and unexpectedly he got a blessing. And that is what life is all about. Sometimes we do things because of motives. Nobody does anything without giving them an adequate motive. So I'm going to be giving away $100. So your attention. Span is here. Somebody say yeah. Oh, they're bright-eyed now. I'm giving away money, right? So that's the first lesson. So the things I'm about to say, you may not gain $100 immediately, but of course the principles, once it's applied, you're going to get much more than that, right? So first and foremost, we need to understand this fundamentally. Everything in life, this time-space reality that we're operating, I wish I had known this when I was your age. Everything in life was created with a purpose. The chair that you're sitting on, this microphone that I'm speaking through, it was created to amplify my voice in an environment like this. God never made a table, but he made trees. And it was the imagination of us, mankind, who was made in his image and likeness, who was very creative to say, you know what, this tree can become a chair, a table, a door. So we are creative beings because a creator formed us. Would you agree? Say yes? Yes. So we are creative beings. So we have to understand that everything in life was created with a purpose, even things that are non-living. And we were created in God's image and likeness. So therefore, we have a purpose. But the tragedy is that we go through different stages of our life, from infancy to childhood, to teenage, to adulthood, not really understanding why we are in this time-space reality. So we are dictated by the influences of our culture. We do things based, it's in style. At this point in time, I want to be associated with the crowd, so we go with the flow. And anytime you go with the flow, you are susceptible to be manipulated, and you are not in control of your life. So fundamentally, we have to recognize that everything in this life was created with a purpose, and if we as human beings were created in his image and likeness, therefore we have a purpose. It is a tragedy for someone to be collecting pension and recognizing in the twilight of your life you did not live. So I am going to share with you some of the principles, the things that I have learned to take my life from one stage to the next. And I will share with you systematically just for about a few minutes. And I want you to think about it, ponder about it, because when I leave here, I want the message and the things that I say to stay with you. I know, based on how the human mind works, I know you're not going to remember everything. But I want you to remember on the 3rd day of February, when they had this from Boys to Men, Ken Simmons, a gentleman came and speak some words that changed my life forever. So understanding that we were born with a purpose in mind. How do I figure out that? There are many people who want things for us. Our parents probably wants to live their dream because they didn't recognize their goal and their vision. They want to live their lives through us. And they're projecting certain things, and we are not inclined in that direction. There are influences among our peers and the culture, the TV, that influence us in a particular way. right? From Vibes Cartel to the culture of the day, Trinidad, and people are doing what they need to do. And as I said before, I am not here to tell you what to do, because fundamentally, you cannot make anybody do what you want them to do. People will change on their own accord. So I don't believe in saying you must do this, you must do that, because as a young man, I was very rebellious. So people have to change on their own. So once we understand that we are in this life for a purpose, then we begin to ask certain questions. And there are two questions as you are sitting here today, engaging your attention and your focus on what I am saying. Two questions I want you to ask, not your teacher, not your parents, but I want you to ask yourself. Two questions. The first question that you need to ask yourself, who am I? Who am I at the core? Not what is on my birth certificate, not what people tell me who I am, or my nickname, or how people perceive me, but who I am at the core. Because ultimately we are a spirit. We live in a body and we possess a soul, but we are spirit, we are eternal. Because one day this flesh will go back to the ground, but your spirit will live forever. And you have to discover you have to remember who you are. Because you decide to come into this time-space reality, so we want to figure out, you need to figure out who you are. So you need to ask yourself that question, who am I? And the second question that you need to ask, why am I here and what is my purpose? So these are the things that you need to ask yourself. Thirdly, I want you to remember this and never forget it. And I want you guys to engage me. I want you to look straight in my face. Never forget this. And this is a philosophy that I have in my own life. And I want you to hear me out. Develop an insatiable desire to learn. From even those in the back row, even those who are working, the teachers, those a part of the assembly. Develop an insatiable desire to learn. Because the day that you stop learning is the day that indirectly you stop growing. Somebody needs to write that down or something, or remember that. Develop an insatiable, and I want to put a stress on insatiable. I'm a sponge to learn. And you know what? The more that I learn is the more that I learn how much I don't know. Because we think we know, but we really ain't know. We think we know, but we ain't know. So develop an insatiable desire to learn. Yes, okay, I hear you, Ken Simmons. I need to learn. And not in a traditional form, maths, English, and science, and social studies. And there's an institute that tells you that you have to pass a particular grade in order to get a job. But I want you to learn life. I want you to learn yourself, because there are principles that govern this earth that will cause you to be successful or not. My topic today is the keys of success. And everybody have a different definition of what success is. And at the end of my discourse, I will share with you my personal definition. You can't Google it and find it. It's my personal definition of what success is. So we need to develop an insatiable desire to learn. I need to learn. I'm like a sponge. I approach every subject like a scientist. Why? How? What? Where? Because there are people who have lived here longer than you. Thousands of years. Thousands. And you just come and you feel that you know it all. You're in for a treat. You're in for a rude awakening. So, okay, all right. So, can I hear you? Because I'm repeating it. Repetition is very important. Develop an insatiable desire to learn. So, what do I learn? There's so many things that you can learn. You can learn about history. What do I learn? What do I need to learn in order for me to take my life from point A to point B? Because in any society, there's the poor, there's the middle class, which is, in Trinidad is soon eroding, and then there are the super wealthy and rich and people who enjoy the finer things of life. Do you think that it was handed to them on a golden platter? In some cases, some people inherit money, but there are principles that the wealthy live by, and those who enjoy great success. So there's a principle. So there are things that we need to learn, and first and foremost, what we need to learn, give me 10 more minutes and I'm out of your way. First thing, once we say, listen, I have an insatiable desire to learn. First, you need to learn how the world works. You need to learn how things work. And what do I mean by that? Not just because that you're a good person, will entitle you to be blessed and to be successful. Anybody agree with me? And let me give you an example. Let's just say I'm very charitable. I love the Lord. I do good. I help out my neighbor. But I go on top of this building and I jump off the building. What do you think will happen? Bladam. Splash. I will die. Pop my neck. But I'm a good person. You know what? You know what happened? I violated a law of gravity. Hey, I violated a law. So there are laws that govern this universe. So you wonder why bad things happen to good people, because they don't recognize that this world that we're living in are governed by laws. God has caused the sea to stop at a particular way. The sky does not move out of order, divine order. So there are laws that govern this world, regardless how you. Well, I'm good. What about a farmer who all through his planting his crops and getting ready for harvest time, and then the nature comes and he gets flooded out? You say, oh gosh, you're blaming God? No. That's how life is sometimes. That's how life, things just happen. But should it stop you from planting again? Absolutely not. And if you begin to blame God, you will never plant again. But you have to understand that that's how it is. Natural disaster. It doesn't mean to say that you're a bad person. And there are people who in this room, bad things have happened to them. There are people who are in the twilight of their life because somebody has done them something. They say, I'm not doing that again. I'm not going to church again because somebody hurt me. I don't like man. The ladies say, my old man bad. Them woman of them not good. Because somebody has done them something and they blame circumstances on the external, not knowing they don't understand how life works. I think that's good. You agree with that? If you agree with that, put your hands together. So we have to learn how things work, understand. There are laws, the laws of polarity. You've heard about the law of attraction, right? And certain things. So we have to learn how things work. So let me move right along. I can say whole day on that particular area, but I won't do that. So just remember, we have to learn how life works, understand life, why things happen and how it happens. Secondly, we need to learn people. We need to learn people. Why? Because in order for us to accomplish anything significant in this life, we need the cooperation of other people. We need the cooperation of other people. We cannot build an empire, we cannot build a business, we cannot have a good family if we don't have good relations with people. Because fundamentally, what will happen at the twilight of your life, at the end of your life, when you're on your deathbed, you will not be studying your accolades, your achievements, the medals, and the praise that people were giving you while you were alive. You will be studying about the relationships you had, whether you were loved or whether you give love or not. Whether I lived a good life. Whether people will speak good things in my eulogy. So your relationship with people is fundamental in succeeding, because no man is an island, no man stands alone. So if you are one who don't like to get along with people and you're very snobbish, you feel that you're there and you like to speak to people in a particular way, you can't build a great business. And your job will not get you financially free. Your 9 to 5, your 8 to 4 will not get you financially free, because you have to do some sort of business in order for you to take control of your life. You agree with me? Yes. So secondly, you've got to learn people. And thirdly, and most importantly, in our quest to learn, we need to learn ourselves. We need to learn ourselves, because we will never increase our wealth unless and until we increase the quality and level of service. That is something to write down. We will never increase our wealth unless and until we increase the quality and level of service. And we cannot give up good service if we don't know who we are. So we need to learn ourselves. We need to find ourselves. I know that the good book says this treasure in an earthen vessel. So once we search within, everything that we're looking for on the external can be found within. Peace of mind and joy. And once we radiate that, we begin to attract that, because we keep that state of feeling good. So we need to inquire and look within to ensure that we work on ourselves. I know we work hard on the external, but work hard to develop your skills, patience, love, and kindness. And once we begin to harness our skills, we begin to move forward. Do you know that in carnival time, Marshall Montano sang a song many years ago. I don't know if you guys have ever heard the song. I know the older ones would know. When he was about your age or younger, he sang a song called, "They say I'm too young to soca, oh yo yo, they making joke." You know that song? Right. So at that age, Marshall Montano had an inclination of his gift. And he kept with it. From then until now, he's celebrating 40 years in the business, one show on Carnival Friday. And from then, he learned, he went through, he applied, and he grew. And now he is regarded as the king of soca. If you want your name to be remembered long after you have left this earth, because there are people who have lived and we don't know about them, there's no trace of them being on this earth. But if you want your name to be remembered, anybody here wants their name to be remembered long after they have left the world? Right. So you need to do something significantly different than the crowd. Dare to be different. Do something different. But you've got to believe in yourself. And the reason why I'm able to speak the way I speak with confidence and not have something prepared on a piece of paper is because of an understanding of who I am. So let me share with you a few things before I hand over the microphone. As it was mentioned, I was running with a gang, a former gangster, or bad boy, or rude boy. Let me just give you a little piece of what transpired back then. In 1998, I was charged with malicious wounding. I chopped up a man in a arena. I was very violent as a young man. I grew up in the hills of Prisgalands, Laventille. My father is a well-known radio broadcaster, Phil the Trill from Laventille. And in that particular area, there was a pressure to fit in with the people within the area. And there was a perception that I had money because my father was on radio, so I was trying to prove myself. So in trying to prove myself, I was very rebellious. There was a particular incident that I was banned from going up the hill, because if you know Laventille, there's a lot of hills, and I still went anyway, and when I came back, I was disciplined. And I got so angry, I ran into the kitchen, took up a cutlass, and swung it at my father. Thankfully, it was on the dull side, and it hit his hand, and it broke his hand, but he knocked me out cold. When I got up, my eyes were swollen, my mother was crying, oh gosh, right? And I fought with my father, I quarreled with my mother, my siblings. I got into several altercations. They made a decision. They said, listen, let's move out of Laventille, because if we don't move out of Laventille, our son will be dead before he leaves his teenage years. I left Prisgalands, Laventille, and I moved to Aruka. But you know, when you have something inside of you, you attract the negativity around you. We attract who we are. And then in Aruka, when I moved in Aruka, I linked up with the negative elements there. There was a gentleman in the area, I wouldn't call his name, I've called his name in the past, but I won't do that. Although he says it's okay, I can call his name. But he was a don in the area. An area where is known for criminal activity in Aruka. But you know, he locked the place, as they say, wearing plenty jewelry. And he was the one who molded me into the gangster rude boy lifestyle. I was taught how to make 12 gauge and 16 gauge homemade shotguns. At that time, the borders were not porous. Now we're dealing with some high-powered artillery that young men are being forced to commit crimes for sneakers and small pittance and small rank and small fame, while the bigger heads eat off of their gullibility. So I was taught how to make 12 gauge and homemade shotguns. They used to call me Tizik, that was my nickname. And let me give you a story how my name came about being Tizik. Believe it or not, I had a ras at one point in time. And I cut my ras. Right, we're laughing, yeah, I had a ras, right? And when I cut my hair, one of the youth men in the area said, boy, you was never a rasta, boy, you was a rastitute. And I wasn't take no disrespect. I was very hasty. So I ran into my brethren's house, Don. I'll just call him Don. I ran into the home, took up a 38 revolver. And I took up the revolver and I pointed at him. And I squeezed the trigger. Clacks! It didn't go off. So the youth man watched me, but he was in shock. And I could remember the day because it was very damp. So he was living by a truck down, right? He was by a truck. So when I pulled it the first time, it didn't go off. I pulled it the second time, it didn't go off. The guy started to run down the truck, and I run down behind him, squeezing it. Clacks, clacks. But the gun didn't go off. When I come back, breathing hard, because I was filled with rage. So when I come back, Don take the gun from me. It had another gentleman by the name of Ras. We used to call him Ras. He said, "But what with you, boy? You're teasing or what?" And of course, he used language, obviously, that is not appropriate at any given time when I speak, right? So when he took the gun, he opened it up. He opened up the barrel, the spin barrel. He put it back in. He squeezed it once. He squeezed it twice. On the third occasion, it went off. Boom. And I remember that distinctly because it was by the grace of God that gun didn't go off, because I didn't aim for his foot, you know. I was so filled with rage and anger, I wanted to prove myself. I didn't aim for his foot, you know. I put the gun straight in his face and squeezed, and it didn't go off. Now, if it had gone off, I would not have been standing in front of you speaking and sharing my testimony, but God had a plan and purpose for my life. And I am grateful for it. There was another incident where I used to wear a lot of big jewelry. So the same brethren, downtown, we were going down in the harm. I remember it was a Wednesday, just after 2. And we were sitting on the church wall in Aruka, the Catholic church. Right? At that time, there were no fences, so we were sitting down there so we were looking to go down the road, we just climbing a little bit. And in broad daylight, our old model Sonny, some of you may not know, old model Sonny, pull up a little way past, there was a shop on the corner, not too far from where we were sitting. They drive a little bit way down, stopped, and 2 men came out. There were 3 men in the vehicle. 2 men came on, one was the driver, one came on with a cutlass, and one came on with a gun. And I was sitting on the church wall like this, right? Sitting on the church wall. And now, how we were positioned, there was like a shop, the shop there, so we didn't see them walking. So when they stopped a little further down, they came, they walked up, we didn't see them when they stopped, and they came. So on the church wall, the guy with the gun pulled my chain and put the gun on the left side of my shoulder. So automatically, he pulled the chain and bust the gun. Boom! Now, I fell back awkwardly. Thankfully, I didn't fall and pop my neck. Now, I know some of you may have never been into a near-death experience like that, but if you've ever been in an accident, sometimes it happens, not sometimes, it happens in a flash. So he pulled my chain, he got the chain, and the gun went off. And when I stumbled and got up, I hold the left side of my shoulder, right? The other guy with the cutlass said, "Boy, shoot him, man, boy, shoot him." And he said other words too as well, which I can't use. "Shoot him, man." No, the gun just went off. He pulled the trigger again, and the gun didn't go off. The gun just went off, you know. He pulled the trigger again, and the gun didn't go off. And I was holding the left side of my shoulder. And I started to run. Now, if you know the area, there's a cemetery in the back. So I started to run. Watch now, if you ever see Ace Ventura, I started to run that kind of way, so. Watch now, my heart beating fast. So my brethren, Don, I'll call him, he said, "Boy, move your hand, boy." I said, "No, boy. I get shoot, boy." I watch my heart beating fast over the beat of my chest because it's like, and it's burning. Left side of my shoulder burning. So when I did move my hand, it was the flame and the gunpowder that was burning the left side. Everybody, from those who were in Lupino over by the bar, they could have sworn I got shot. But thankfully, God preserved my life. And when I remember these things, I remember that God had a plan for my life. That is why I'm able to speak to you today and to let you know that God has a plan for your life. There is one more story that I want to tell you before I hand over the microphone, and I don't want you to ever forget. Going through my rude boy and bad boy days, I was involved with a young lady. Rude girl, bad girl, that's how I like it back in the day. Very, you know. She was with me for a time, and then subsequently we broke it off. But she got sick. She was ill. And when I checked with the family, and she was actually admitted to Cora Hospital. Now, if you know Cora Hospital, if they admit you to Cora Hospital, it's either one of the two things. It's either for tuberculosis or for HIV/AIDS. Subsequently, she died. And later I found out that she died from the virus. And I was trembling in my boots. I was concerned for my life. I started to pray all kind of prayers. I said, Lord, I don't know what is this. I said, and I made a promise to God, hear me out. I made a promise to God. I said, God, if you spare my life, wherever I'm given an opportunity to, I will speak of your goodness and grace in my life. And I did take a test afterwards. And thankfully, the test came back negative. I've taken subsequently tests after that, and it came back negative. And up to this day, I've kept my promise. Wherever I'm asked to, I said, Lord, I will share what you have done for me, because you have spared my life, because I know my life is full of purpose. And I am no different to you. You are full of purpose. And I know that God has a plan for all of us. So today, I'm a living testimony that God is fantastic and good. And if you believe that God is great, somebody make some noise in this place. Now, everybody's purpose look different. I operate within the secular realm. I'm given an opportunity on the morning drive on Vibe City 105 FM. So, I am speaking to those who need it, because Christ says that he did not come for the well, he came for the sick. So I'm here to encourage all of us today as young men to prepare for adulthood. That despite what you are going through now, you can take your life from one place to the next once you have developed an insatiable desire to learn. And there are three things that you need to learn. First and foremost, we need to learn how things work. Don't just think because you're a good person it's going to work in your favor. You have to understand that's life and live with it. Secondly, you have to learn people, because we can't achieve anything significant for our names to be remembered long after we have left this earth if we don't have a relationship with people. And thirdly, we've got to remember ourselves. I'm going to share with you the definition of success, and then I'm going to leave and I'm going to open up the floor for any questions. Success, my definition for success, is to do exactly what you were created to do while improving and enjoying the process along the way. To do exactly what you were created to do. If this microphone wanted to give off breeze like the fan, this microphone will live in insecurity for the rest of its life if it was a living organism. Because this microphone is trying to do what it was never meant to do. And sometimes we look at somebody else and their walk and their relationship and their purpose, and we feel bad about ourselves, but you were never called to do that. So that's why you need to know who you are. Don't look at other persons, look within, and you're going to find that hidden treasure. Success is doing exactly what you were created to do while improving and enjoying the process along the way. So I'm going to open up the floor for a few minutes. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know, and then we're going to involve. Yes, any questions? Let me make the microphone. Yes. You don't.
So, if you are yourself, being successful and being successful is what you were supposed to be created to do. And if you have everybody that's successful, have a nice car, have a nice house, have a nice car, need service, right? But suppose you was created to have all your service, you're supposed to do true trial and error, and what it is, and that's the most of it. It is difficult to success.
Yeah, of course, every journey is different, and that's a good question. Now, I've mentioned, thank you very much. Put your hands together for him. Put your hands together for him. Thank you. Every journey is different. At that time, my parents, because I was expelled, I went to Belmont Intermediate, J.S. Williams, we were in the same class, JW. and I was expelled. I didn't tell you that, but I was expelled from Belmont Intermediate. I lost my virginity at the age of 13 from my cousin's girlfriend, who was 20-something years old. And I don't want you to smoke, but it's very serious. And it introduced me to manhood at a time that I was not ready. So don't feel it was, at that time you feel it was a rank thing, but it wasn't a rank. It messed with my mental. And I'm telling you this because you need to understand the pitfalls, right? So yes, to answer your question, we don't know how we're going to get there, but we have to know where we're going. Our desires want to be successful. So you don't have to get subjects. Some people are skilled vocationally. So sometimes we have to go through certain things, a passage of life to be refined, and everybody's journey is different. But you have to have an intention, and the intention is to be the best version of yourself, to do what you were created to do and not try to live in somebody else's shadow. Hope that answers your question? Yes. Right, nice. Any other questions? Any question? Yes. Very quickly. How does one stay focused on being successful? All right. So let me share that with you very quickly, right? And I know you guys are hungry, so I don't want to be inconsiderate, right? How do you stay focused? Remember this. Nobody does, and I started off by saying this. Nobody does anything, remember this. Nobody does anything without giving them an adequate motive. What are your motives? Why are you doing what you're doing? So if the motives are strong enough, and there are multiple motives, you will stay on course. So there's a reason why around this time a lot of people are flocking around these Queen's Park Savannah and packing in the gyms, because their motive is to look good on the road or to become healthier. So they do that all through the year. The Savannah have the regulars, but through all this, the gym packed now, because they're doing it because of motive. What I would advise to you at your age, and I wish I knew this at your age, what I would advise to you is to get a motive so strong that even when you seemingly fail, you say, listen, I have to go again, because it's so strong. I want it bad enough. And you know how you build your motive? You know you want to build your motive? You want to envision. This is why I'm doing it. Some people motive is like, listen, I live in poverty my whole life. I come into school, my belly empty, I don't have certain things, and I go to be the one who breaking the generational curse, to come out with something, to leave a legacy for my children when I get older. So you have to have a motive. You have to determine what that motive is. For me, when I have near-death experiences, I said, listen, anywhere, and I have spoken in every prison in Trinidad and Tobago, including the women's prison and Carrera prison. I worked with Vision on Mission with Wayne Chance. May God rest his soul. And I've seen hardened criminals. I've spoken to toddlers, teenagers like yourself. And God has kept his promise, and I have kept my promise, regardless of where I'm positioned. I said I will speak of your goodness, to share with you, not to tell you. I didn't tell nobody here to do nothing. I just share with you my passage of life, and what could work for me could work for you as well. I had the question right. Put your hands together for him. Come, thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? Life is beautiful. It is. All right? Okay, so it is my pleasure. Thank you so very much for having me. Thank you. I hope I will be invited back. Again, blessings to the angels of the house, Pastor Cave, and of course, Elder Raymond. Yes, and guys, I know you will remember everything that I said, but one thing is for certain. Success primarily is dependent on you. Anytime you start to blame other people for who you are or what you do, then you lose before you start. You determine your success, nobody else. All right? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ken Simmons, for coming and demonstrating your idea of success to us. I wish to see you again and have better future endeavors of success.
Thanks for having me, gentlemen. God bless, right? Take care.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys, how awesome was this? Yes, round of applause again for Mr. Ken Simmons. Wow. What a story, what a knowledge. Guys, we are so blessed to be here, to learn